Înțelegerea relevanței regiunii Mării Negre, faptul că România are cea mai lungă graniță cu Ucraina și securitatea Europei, toate acestea sunt argumente pentru ca accentul politic german să rămână pe România. Declarația aparține lui Gebauer, ambasadorul Germaniei la București, și a fost făcută în contextul finalului mandatului său diplomatic la noi. Un interviu de rămas bun după o misiune complexă influențată major de începerea războiului rușilor în Ucraina. Sunt Cristina Cileacu, începe Pașaport diplomatic. Gebauer, Ambassador of Germany, this is a farewell interview because your diplomatic mission in Romania is ending, but still, welcome to Diplomatic Passport.
Thank you so much.
Ambassador, when we did our first interview, when you arrived in Bucharest, we did talk about two major topics: the rise of extremism in Europe, not only in Germany, and also the transatlantic partnership through the perspective of strengthening European autonomy. Do you feel like these topics were solved, or they are even much more active than 4 years ago?
Yeah, I would say the latter. Indeed, these are two very important issues, challenges on our plate right now, and the relevance of these issues has not been decreasing over the last years, but increasing rather. Indeed, we must find a way to keep our transatlantic partnership together. I think this is crucial for us. It's in the interest of Europe. It's at the same time, I'm very much convinced, in the interest of the US. And there are several angles we are working on when it comes to improving, for example, our ability to defend ourselves in Europe. But there's still a way to go when we look at trade and other areas. And yes, the rise of extremism has been a challenge, and is a challenge here in Romania, in Germany, all across Europe and all across the world. So yes, these topics are more pressing than ever.
We did watch, for instance, also not far from your arrival here in Bucharest, in this very residence, the elections of Chancellor Olaf Scholz, and now that you are leaving, Germany has a different Chancellor, Friedrich Merz. How will the major policies of Germany shift with Chancellor Merz?
When it comes to foreign policy, European policy, there's a great tradition in Germany of a continuity in general. But Chancellor Merz has made it clear on several occasions that he puts a great emphasis on a closer, even closer European coordination, because he very much believes, and I certainly share that assessment, that we are relying on a European cooperation more than ever. So this stronger focus on a European alignment, you can already see when you look at the first visits he undertook to France, to Paris, to Warsaw, to other European partners, to show that we are in this together. Many challenges can only be solved in a European way, and that is really one take of the new government. And we also, for the first time, have a situation, for the first time in many years, I have to say, a situation in Germany where the Chancellor and the Foreign Minister are from the same party. This has just not been a tradition in coalition governments in the years before. This time it is, and this also gives us room to have a better streamlined foreign policy, which I think will also strengthen our impact internationally. Then, of course, there are a number of areas, also in the domestic arena, where the new government of the Conservatives and the Social Democrats might adjust policies of the past. I think one key area is migration, where there is a broad consensus to have a more restrictive migration policy, to have more control at the borders, in order to manage the high income of the high flow, migration flows that we have been facing over the last year. So just to name two areas there where there will be a bit of an adjustment. But overall, I think Germany has always had a proud history of by and large continuity in our policy.
And when it comes to the relationship of the new Chancellor and United States, Do you think it would be some change, or shall we watch this relationship through the eyes of the entire European Union?
Well, certainly both. I mean, the transatlantic partnership, our relations with the US are of utmost importance when it comes to security, but also when it comes to economy. And this is why we are, of course, interested to do away with those areas where we might not be in sync, to closely cooperate. The Chancellor has spoken to President Trump on several occasions on the phone. There is a visit certainly coming up in the time to come. Our Foreign Minister is traveling to Washington. So there is a great interest from our side to intensify the contacts. And of course, as for your question, we very much understand that it's not about bilateralizing these relations. It's Europe being a very important partner for the US and the US being a crucial partner for Europe. And this is why we work always in a European framework and angle, closely cooperating with our partners.
The beginning somehow of your mission in Romania overlapped as well with the beginning of the unfortunate war in Ukraine, the Russian war in Ukraine. How was it for you as an ambassador in a country having the longest border with the war?
A very unique mandate indeed, because of this geopolitical turmoil and storm that we are all facing, and Romania being on the front line, so to speak, with the longest land border of any EU country with Ukraine, is a very special place to be. I remember when I came here, it was in August of 2021, slightly before the war. As an ambassador, you always wonder to what extent you can also promote and explain your new host nation to the capital, back to Berlin. And I, at that time, was thinking of also putting a stronger focus on the Black Sea region, saying that it is, of course, of great interest and importance for Germany as it is for Romania. And this was not there was no explaining necessary after the full-fledged invasion of Putin into Ukraine, because everybody understood that this region is a crucial one when it comes to European security, and it has indeed, the whole situation, shaped my mandate here. We have had a number of military-to-military contacts, German missions, whether it's air policing or the participation in exercises, in military exercises. We have seen an increase in the cooperation in the field of defense industry, a very important field, I feel, because Romania has a strong tradition in that area, and Germany has a lot of expertise, and we must build up our European capacity in this sense. We have seen an intensification of political contacts on this issue, because Romania has a unique view given its location, its geographic location. And so these last years during my mandate have been, well, have seen a multitude of highest level political exchanges, visits of our federal president, of our chancellor, of our foreign minister, and many others to Romania. So in this sense, my mandate has been a very intense and interesting one from a diplomatic, or from a diplomat's point of view, a very rewarding one, because what we were able to do here as an embassy really did matter. And we also seen developments in the bilateral arena between Romania and Germany when it comes to important steps forward, like the full Schengen membership of Romania that was finally fulfilled after a long struggle, and other areas where I sense that we have been growing closer together.
Would you say that now the Black Sea has a different importance comparing with the period you arrived in Romania? I'm talking about the way the Black Sea is now seen in Germany or the rest of Europe.
I would say that the Black Sea has always had a great importance, but the understanding has been is a different one now. Everybody understands very well that when it comes to our security, but also when it comes to energy and connectivity and other areas, the Black Sea is of utmost importance for not only Romania and the neighboring countries, but the rest of Europe. So yes, there has been a shift in the political perception, an important one. We see this when it comes to discussions in the EU framework on an enhanced strategy for the Black Sea region. and other aspects. And it's good that we are now one step further, and it's very good that Romania is there as a partner, as a key partner for us, to explain the region and to represent this part of Europe.
And in this context of rearming Europe or re-prepare Europe for anything worst case scenario, would Romania and Germany work more on this topic? I mean, is Germany interested in having investments, being closer to the key security region?
Rearming Europe is of utmost importance. This is obvious because while we would still, anybody would still wish for a peaceful Russia in our neighborhood, the reality is that this Russia, Putin's Russia, stands for aggression and will not stop in Ukraine. I think the leadership of Russia, this Russia, has made it clear on numerous occasions that they try to reverse the historic developments, that they want to reinstall their empire and zone of influence that they had during the Cold War, which also affects directly Romania and Central and Eastern Europe. So we must stay strong. In this sense, it is very good news that the EU Commission set the path towards a stronger Europe, which is better able to self-defend itself. And in this regard, a number of instruments have been put forward. The safe regulation providing the facility of financing member states when it comes to their defense spending, an easing of the Stability and Growth Pact regulations, sort of the activation of a national escape clause, which also makes it possible for individual member states of the EU to spend more on defense, and a number of other instruments that have been put on the agenda. For Romania and Germany, as for your question, there's a lot of opportunity. As I said, Romania has a strong tradition of a defense industry. These last years, it might not have been in the forefront, but there is much room to reactivate this tradition. And a number of German companies are in close contact with Romania on joint projects. Some are European funded, some are just privately funded. And this will certainly lead to a closer cooperation and to a strengthening of Europe overall, because we need these facilities to produce ammunition, powder, and battle vehicles, tanks, and everything else. This is important, and it's important to do it here in Romania. And I would say Romania has a good chance of becoming a new hub again for defense industry.
Speaking about Ukraine, of course, we had the recent news that a number of allies, Germany included, were approving the use of long-range missiles for Ukrainians. There is no limit anymore how far they can hit Russia. Do you think it would be a difference for Ukrainians in this battle?
We must do everything we can to support Ukraine in their fight for their survival as an independent country, because they're defending not only their freedom, but they're also defending Europe and our freedom. So in this sense, I think it's right to provide them with what they need. When it comes to the debate about what kind of weapon systems we are delivering, about range restrictions or lifting restrictions, we have recently adopted a change in the German approach, in the sense that we do not exactly tell what specific issues, weapons we have delivered or approaches we pursue, but we have decided to have some sort of strategic ambiguity, because it's not for us to tell Putin exactly what we are up for. I think this is the right approach, because in the end it comes down to supporting Ukraine the best way we can, and not about to just lay out on the open what exactly we are doing. This is better to have some sort of ambiguity in this sense.
You will be working in Germany further in your career, and I have to ask you if as far as you know, still being here, still in Romania, there is this scenario if United States will withdraw itself from the peace negotiations. What will Europe do? And of course, Germany being one of the leading countries in Europe will be looked as leader.
We'll see what happens. You're fully right. We cannot predict the future in this regard. But this is where we are concentrating on, and I think there are a number of good arguments for the US staying involved. At the same time, we have already started, in general, a shift in our policy towards this stronger self-independence and autonomy when it comes to arming and defending ourselves. And this is the same when it comes to promoting a stable, sustainable peace in Ukraine. Europe, while having a great interest in keeping the US on board, should not feel helpless if we are on our own. Europe is a very strong continent. We have, you know, in terms of population, in terms of industry and economic strength, we are certainly a giant, and I think we need to put our ability on the road and to not give up. So I think to your question, there's a way answer in saying we try to keep the US on board, but if not, it's on us. And we have seen this already, that the European leaders traveling together, for example, to Ukraine, to Kiev right after the mandate of Chancellor Merz started, that they took the initiative and initiated some ideas. So this is what we'll see in the future if the US pulls on more.
We are all waiting for the new NATO summit. It will be in end of June in The Hague, and everyone is expecting for United States to want more money from the allies. How is this balance with the fact that the entire Europe wants to be stronger when it comes to rearming itself?
Well, these are two sides of the same coin. US is rightly expecting a higher investment of Europe in European security. I think this is a fair ask of us, and this is why we have already seen throughout the last years an increase in defense spending, while 2% GDP spending on defense has been a goal far away for many European countries, you know, in the last decade. Many allies now have reached this important benchmark, and only a few are lagging slowly behind. And now we're talking about new numbers. Of course, there's a discussion about 5%, 3.5% on defense, 1.5% on defense-related expenditures. I think it's important to shift our mindsets that towards this goal. We must be able to defend ourselves. We all want to prevent a war with Russia, but we only can prevent a war with Russia if we are strong enough. If we are weak, Putin will attack. I think this is a given, and this is why any euro spent on defense is well invested, because in the end it would be much more harmful, much more expensive if we just, you know, hoped for the illusion of a peaceful Russia.
Coming back to your mission here in Romania, we did had, I think, twice Bucharest-Berlin interviews together with your counterpart, our ambassador in Berlin, Adriana Stănescu. Do you think, since you both started your missions in Bucharest and Berlin, something changed in the relationship between Romania and Germany, or it's kind of the same?
I think it's fair to say that something's changed, and of course I'm biased. As an ambassador, you always feel that you made an impact, you had an impact. But there's some reason for me to be self-confident in this regard. First of all, it has been a true privilege to cooperate so closely with my Romanian counterpart, with Adriana Stănescu, as the Romanian ambassador in Berlin. We truly had a almost daily exchange on many important issues. And that's why it's been truly a pleasure to work with her in this field. And yes, throughout the last years, we have seen an intensification of our bilateral relations. We have been close in terms of economy before. We had, of course, a cultural bridge through the German minority, which has been here for centuries. But politically, the relations between Romania and Germany have not been as intense as maybe with other partnering countries of Germany, and this has changed. As I mentioned before, frequency of high-ranking exchanges, political visits, has never been seen before here in Romania. And while I always would hope to say it's only because of me, the reality is that it's because of the geopolitical situation.
Also because of
Thank you. No, but it has been a privilege indeed to work in this context and to do my part, to add my part to this intensification. And I believe that this is now enshrined, the understanding for the relevance of the Black Sea region, the fact that Romania is a neighbor of Ukraine, and the security and safety of Europe is still at stake in Ukraine. All these arguments and all these points will ensure that the German political focus will stay on the partnership with Romania.
Any regrets?
Any regrets on my end? I had a wonderful overall mandate here, and I can say I regret not having traveled even more throughout the beautiful country that Romania is, and the many wonderful places that it has to offer and it can offer. But I did, a large part of traveling already, and I will certainly have many reasons to come back as often as I can to discover the rest of the country.
Ambassador Gebauer, thank you so much for this interview, and best of luck with your future mission.
Thank you so much.
Atât pentru astăzi, dar rămânem în continuare online pe pagina noastră de Facebook și pe conturile noastre de X și Instagram. Revenim cu subiecte noi din lumea diplomației și a politicii externe, vinerea viitoare de la 11:30 și reluare sâmbătă după miezul nopții. La revedere!